Welcome to the show. Yesterday was January 6th, 2025, the 4-year anniversary of the Trump-inspired insurrectious riots, which fortunately failed to keep Donald Trump in power despite having lost the 2020 election. A very different January 6th yesterday, as Vice President Kamala Harris confirming her own defeat to Donald Trump in the Electoral College with little fanfare, with no riotous insurrection, with no insurrectious riot, put it in whichever order you want to see it. And it is yet again another reminder that while in so many ways the two parties are indistinguishable, prioritizing their own self-preservation, too tied into donors, and all of the things we criticize on this program all the time. But in some critical, foundational ways, there is a big difference between the Democratic and Republican parties. Kamala Harris, the vice president, putting out a video in advance of the official acceptance and confirmation of the 2024 results, where she said the following. And of course, it's very difficult, if you know the history of the last 4 years and the continued claims from Donald Trump, even now in 2025, that he actually won the popular vote in 2016 against Hillary Clinton, that he actually won the election in 2020 against President Joe Biden. In that context, the words of Vice President Harris can't help but remind us of how different things were 4 years ago.
The peaceful transfer of power is one of the most fundamental principles of American democracy. As much as any other principle, it is what distinguishes our system of government from monarchy or tyranny. Today at the United States Capitol, I will perform my constitutional duty as Vice President of the United States to certify the results of the 2024 election. This duty is a sacred obligation, one I will uphold, guided by love of country, loyalty to our Constitution, and my unwavering faith in the American people. As we have seen, our democracy can be fragile, and it is up to then each one of us to stand up for our most cherished principles and to make sure that in America, our government always remains of the people, by the people, and for the people.
So listen, it's still teleprompter Kamala Harris. It's still a lot of the problems with her campaign evident in what is, this kind of cobbled together with the cuts scripted video. I don't deny that. But compared to what Trump wanted Pence to do in 2020, it is stunning that it is even notable that this is what the vice president is doing in certifying her own loss and saying the most important thing are the democratic principles on which we were founded. Now, later on the floor of the Senate, on the floor of the House, indeed, Kamala Harris confirming her defeat to Trump, standing there and taking it with a humility that these Republicans could never have. MAGA Mike Johnson smirking, sarcastic clapping, and the whole thing. But really the ones that should be ashamed are not those who lost, although of course it is shameful that the country voted for Trump over Harris, and she has some blame in that without a doubt, as we talked about over the last couple months. Those who should be ashamed are the ones who now are reminded of how they behaved 4 years ago today.
The state of the vote for the President of the United States, as delivered to the President of the Senate, is as follows. The whole number of the electors appointed to vote for President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, the majority is 270. The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris Kamala Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 226 votes.
And you know, for all the partisan clapping, the Republicans standing and clapping for Trump's votes and the Democrats standing and clapping for Kamala Harris's votes, Trump never had the dignity, nor the decorum, nor the testicular fortitude to do what it took to just say, hey, you know what? I lost. And Kamala Harris, not the testicular fortitude, the ovarian fortitude, to stand there and say, I lost, and that's it. Even if these people are to a great degree clueless, they chose him over me, and that must be respected.
The whole number of electors appointed to vote for Vice President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, a majority is 270. The votes for Vice President of the United States are as follows. J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio has received 312 votes. Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota has received 226 votes. This announcement of the state of the vote by the President of the Senate shall be deemed a sufficient declaration of the persons elected President and Vice President of the United States, each for a term beginning on the 20th day of January 2025, and shall be entered together with the list of the votes on the journals of the House and the Senate. Thank you very much.
All right, so I think you get it, and then it wraps up. This is the way that it was designed to work. And afterwards, Vice President Kamala Harris restating that she did what is required of her. Again, alluding back to what Trump wanted Pence to do 4 years ago today.
Obviously a very important day, and it was about what should be the norm and what the American people should be able to take for granted, which is that one of the most important pillars of our democracy is that there will be a peaceful transfer of power. And today I did what I have done my entire career, which is take seriously the oath that I have taken many times to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, which included today performing my constitutional duties to ensure that the people of America, the voters of America, will have their votes counted, that those votes matter, and that they will determine then the outcome of an election. I do believe very strongly that America's democracy is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it.
So I think you get it. None of this should be notable. None of this should be remarkable. None of this would even normally be newsworthy. But it is in the context of the scourge of what Trumpism was and caused and did in the year 2020. Now, it of course should be remembered, I guess I would say, that Kamala Harris, according to Republicans, according to MAGA really, could have done what Trump wanted Pence to do. And if you accept MAGA's belief about presidential immunity, there would be nothing by their own belief, by their own standard. If Kamala Harris and Joe Biden wanted to simply say, we're not going to recognize those results from last November, we're not going to leave office, we're going to stay, we believe that we won, by their own perspective from 2020 and beyond, she would be able to do it and there would be no repercussions whatsoever. Now, of course, if she tried what they wanted Pence to do, they would come up with some new explanation or some caveat or some detail that makes it different this time than it was in 2020. But remember that they always have solutions looking for problems. And in 2020, their solution was Trump stays in power. The problem they created was the claim that Biden didn't really win, and Kamala Harris not getting involved in any of it. Now, despite all of this, despite the fact that Harris could have done so many other things according to their own beliefs, but she didn't, she just did what the Constitution requires of her. Despite all of that, Donald Trump still managed to take issue with Joe Biden yesterday. Let's discuss that briefly. The new year is here, and there is no better time to commit to your fitness goals. Alpha Progression is the ultimate science-backed workout app to help you crush your goals in the gym with fully customizable plans. Why choose Alpha Progression? It has a 4.9 star rating in the app stores from thousands of glowing reviews. It was twice named Apple's App of the Day. It's just a great value, easy to use interface, and completely customizable. It's been created by seasoned bodybuilders, and the app will offer expert guidance and strategies similar to a personal trainer, but at a fraction of the cost. Alpha Progression is the app for anyone looking to maximize muscle gain. That's their one focus, but it's designed to work for novices and seasoned lifters alike. If you're in need of a science-based, no BS workout program that's easy to follow and it'll get you real results, look to Alpha Progression. And right now is the best time to try Alpha Progression because you'll get 20% off your first month or 20% off your first year at alphaprogression.com/Pacman. The link is in the description.